Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 227, and today we're doing battle in the Timewinder Gauntlet. And so, if you're not familiar with the Timewinder Gauntlet, Riot is doing this series towards the end of the year to where we're getting to play some of the older formats, but with the cards in their current iteration. And so this week, we'll be doing the Foundations Gauntlets. This is cards only from the Foundations set, and so just 6 factions running around. No Shuriman movies today. Not going to have any bards or Evelyns running around, just those first 6 factions. The next thing is the cards are in their current iteration. So Fiora is a 4 mana 4/4. Deny costs 4 mana. None of these old school style changes are in the current format. The cards are in their current state. And so the last thing to say before we come in and start talking about the decks is this is a best of 1 format, but it has the best of 3 pick and ban. Riot Ruben Zoo did tweet that this was intended to be best of 3, but they made a little whoopsies and it's only best of 1. And so I'm kind of interested in trying out that format as well. I'm not like sold on it being super effective, but as we do find ourselves coming out of a format to where Seraphine was just not something I ever wanted to play against, and it really kind of drug me through the depths of not wanting to play the game. Something like that could have potentially been interesting there. And just kind of thematically and overall, tying back into the League of Legends and the big pick and ban phase, the draft setup that they have at the start of each of those games, kind of tying that theme into the other games in an effective way would be kind of neat and cool as well. I don't know. I don't think it was the first that did the kind of pick and ban thing at the start. I know in terms of card games, this is the kind of a more common style now anyways, but I think League of Legends is probably the most famous and most well-known for having that style of gameplay. And so I kind of like the throwback, even if it wasn't intentional, and kind of tying that into the card game. Kind of a neat thing. But nonetheless, on to the deck list, the things that we'll be playing today. Okay, so deck number 1, Garen Lucian. I don't want to call this Elites. This is more of a Demacia-based board control deck, very similar to the Petricite Broadwing rally-based offerings that you see today, whether or not that's out of something like Scouts or out of a Poppy-based deck. They're looking to get some early game board control with the challengers. We have Fleet Feather Tracker, along with her new friend Laurent Duelist. Laurent Duelist can pass out the challenger to allies in our hand, ideally to someone like either Lucian or Senna, so we can get those quick attack challenges happening in the early game. Once we get that board control, once we get that width, we're looking to boost the units with the standard Demacia unit boosting stuff. So we have Garen, Vanguard Bannerman, and Cythria to put the width on the board, along with the Vanguard Sergeant to generate those 4 Demacias. If that's not enough, we have the Relentless Pursuits to get those secondary attacks in, help close out the games after we get the big stat boosts on board. Last but not least, we have a handful of interactivity here. We got the full 3 single combats. Ideally, our units will just be bigger than our opponents, so the single combats can be successful. The Relentless Pursuits for the rally, the single detain to take down any unit, ideally something like Tryndamere, and then a handful of combat tricks between the 2 Radiant Strikes and 1 back-to-back. Deck number 2, we are playing the Zed Elusives. This is kind of based on the initial boogeyman of the lands of Runeterra, the Allegiance deck coming out of the Elusives, using the Ionian Elusive unit to put 2 1-drops on the board. Those would then boost your Sparring Students and your Green Glade duos, and ideally those cheap plays would be things like Devori Blade Scout for more Elusives and Omen Hawk for some unit boosting. And so if you're wanting to kind of scroll through the deck, you can see that the Solitary Monk got nerfed, the Shadow Assassin got nerfed, the Kanaku Lifeblade got nerfed at some point. Windfarer Hatchling got buffed, though. It got boosted up to up to 3 health from 2. But no, I think this should probably be pretty reasonable in this format, just a non-interactive, big, high-powered elusive strategy with just a bit of interactivity between the 5 combat tricks and Brittle Steel Twin Disciplines, the 3 bounce spells in the Will of Ionia, and then the 2 denies. Last deck is our wild card, the real meme deck, if you will, coming at you with the Iceborn Legacy deck. And so Iceborn Legacy, it caught a bit of play. I don't think it would have been in Foundations only. They messed with it, I think, after Foundations was released. But we can circle back and try and take advantage of this strategy. It's looking to boost up the Broodlings. And so we have Elise, Vile Feast, Brood Awakening, and Hapless Aristocrat generating the Broodlings. If you give the Broodlings +2/+2 with the Iceborn Legacy, then they'll be big for the rest of the game. And so if we, at a future turn, after playing the Iceborn Legacy, drop a Brood Awakening, it'll have all of the bonus stats. And so looking to play the game a little bit slow, a little bit control heavy until we're able to drop the Brood Awakening and then make that big board. We should be able to, grow the board. Otherwise, we have the Avarosian Hearthguards and the Omen Hawks to help boost our units, but we might have a little bit of trouble actually closing out the games. That's where the likes of Pack Mentality comes in. This should be our big way to help finish and end the game if we have, 60 stats on board, but we can't actually deal any points of damage. And so, those are the decks. That's what we're doing battle with today. Almost Elites, the Elusive Birds, and the Spider Legacy. Let's go ahead and head on in. Boom. Okay, so Ash Thresh and Heimerdinger are what I'm looking to ban. We're going to just try and ban some Shadow Isles deck everywhere we can. More than happy to leave Jinx Draven up. And so I would suspect the more control decky of the two is going to be the Heimerdinger one. Just strikes me as something that may or may not have a ruination in it. And so here I'm going to pick up the Elites. I worry a little bit about taking the Elusives deck up against Jinx Draven. They tend to just get wider than us, and we can't really interact with them particularly well. The big unit deck does much better against the 1/1s. Nothing about this hand though. Looks like something we want to take against Jinx Draven. Oh boy. All right. We're going to have to draw some good cards and fast. Definitely do not want to be starting with Cythrias and Garens or even Vanguard Bannerman up against this deck, but let's see what we can do. Not ideal. Not ideal. All right, Lucian's coming to the party. I don't... Maybe we just have to give up on it at this point. Well, there's like a pretty good chance whatever unit we play here is just going to get hit with Mystic Shot, right? So maybe we play the Duelist first. Try and count on Lucian for next turn. I don't suspect we're going to have much success with Lucian here, but gotta be ready with something. And the bird. Brutal. Okay. Well, at least we can come in and trade. We can come in and trade and then drop our Bannerman next turn. Maybe we do just have to come in and take 3 damage here. Right, if we want to just start sending in quick attack challenges with Lucian next turn. But, I mean, it's like if he has a Get Excited or something just to kill him next turn, it's not going to be good. So let's just go ahead and throw in a block. We can add Vanguard Bannerman and hope he does something. But it just sounds like a recipe for disaster, counting on Lucian to do something here.
For the glory of Demacia. My first big mission.
Okay. I think we can safely attack here. Like, none of his units will win, right? If we're going to be attacking and making a trade, then that seems pretty terrible. But I think when he doesn't have a board that can actually kill the Bannerman, might be okay.
Defend our banner.
Probably just dead, but we'll see. We'll give it a go.
For justice. For Demacia.
He's bringing out the emotes, so I guess that points to just dead. But, sure.
Time for the main event.
The sunbrock got me good.
Maybe he's digging. Doesn't have that burn just yet. Still pretty savage with this round.
And a long path to get here.
All right, take longer with the emotes. Good job. Okay, GG. That was tough. I mean, I look at it like that though, but if we want to like come back and think about it a little bit more, it's like we really did have a pretty strong curve throughout the course of the game. Like, I guess it does make the difference between having the bird on the third turn instead of the first one, and the amount of stuff that she's able to, the amount of damage she's able to prevent. But I think that was kind of tough there. All right, though, Callista Elise, I think I'm fine to deal with, but let's do this. Let's ban out the Shadow Isles deck and then see if we can't get in around with Elise Braum. See if we can't do a little bit of the Spiderlings here against either of these decks. I'm okay with, right? The big problems we'd run into with the Spiderlings are basically just the Shadow Isles cards. If you're going to have Vile Feasts and Brood Awakenings and or Vile Feasts and the Box and Withering Whale and all that garbage, all a little bit more problematic. I think Braum might be an okay keep here. This isn't going to be like a very fast deck that we're up against, right? Maybe I was wrong. I was not expecting the Elusives to come out of to come out of Karma Ezreal. Pretty tempting just to go wide here, but I can say it's not awesome to come in and just trade our Omen Hawk into the Blade Scout. We can do a little bit better than that, I think. Not what I was expecting at all. If you have this like early game elusive aggression, you're not doing early game stuff with Karma Ezreal, and so it's kind of strange to me. All right. Bird is ready. Braum is ready. Let's see what we can do.
Is on the job.
Braum's on the job, ready to eat a will of Ionia. Poor guy. Sure. All right, well, if you're not going to play anything, I guess we'll do it my way. Is this going to get denied? Nice. We get the Vile Feast denied. I love it. I love it when we're sitting on Vengeance Pack mentality. And so, not the most effective turn for Braum, but it still feels like it went pretty okay.
How can I help?
Really? Where are you?
Shh, quietly. Down from the trees.
All right, more Elusives coming at us. Why don't you play the Mystic Shot on our Braum? That's where the action is, huh? All right, ready for battle. Look at all those delicious spiderlings on the board. All right, that's one way to handle them. Probably should have done this the other way. You'd rather the Blade Scout be dead, but I think we're okay.
It is easy, see?
All right, Iceborn Legacy is not exactly the card I was looking for here, but maybe we'll just draw another Brood Awakening. Very awkward hand that we've picked up this round, but I guess that's what you get when you're not playing things like the only Broodling card we're not playing is Crawling Sensation. Probably should just be playing.
There's nothing to fear.
All right, can we get a lethal this turn? How bad can this be? Like, I don't want to get really hype about these expensive spells up against Ionia, even though we did get the one deny off of the Vile Feast, but it just feels like, I guess the big cards I'd be worried about are probably kind of canceled now, right? If he had like Mina, she would be too expensive. If he had like Yone, that would be troublesome now. I don't think there's anything else that really kind of punishes us for this going big. But we got 19 on board with 2 health on the other side. He's got to do a little bit of something to keep this from lethaling. We'll have the 3 damage Spiderling coming out of Elise as well. It's not going to have the sweet overwhelm aspects to it, though. Look at that. Look at that Brood Awakening Spiderling. Ah, that's nice. That's nice. Alright. GG, friend. Spiderling's getting the job done.
Leaving so soon, the little ones will miss you.
Alright, victory. Our trial is not over. Alright, heading in. So what do we got here? Some kind of Shadow Isles, Freylord Callista. Okay. Fiora, I think we're fine with. Fiora, Freylord, maybe that's a little scarier than the Callista deck. And then what I assume is very similar to our Elusives and the opposing Zed Elusives. I'm just going to go ahead and still ban out that Shadow Isles deck. And then let's bring the Elusives. We haven't brought the Elusives yet. Maybe we'll get to play a sweet mirror match. It is. I saw the Zed come in. I assume he's doing the same thing we're doing. So what do we got? Not a great start. Not looking to start with the Windfarer hatchlings, but a little bit better after that. Curious, like again, I didn't play a ton back then. I'm wondering if we should just like hard mulligan for Zed. Alright, let's just play it. I think this is our weaker unit. Like, I don't think we want to come in and just trade the Navori Blade Scout here, right? If we start to hit Navori Conspirators or something on the future turns, I don't think we want to just like replay the Mentor for the 1. I think we typically want to just go for the damage. But see how this goes. This is probably a mistake as well. Now, if opponent has Zed next turn, do we just outright lose the game? Maybe not. I mean, the Shadow Assassin can come down. We can still Brittle Steel the Zed and get the takedown, but it's a little scary.
Looking for a daring escape?
The dark beckons.
There's our Zed.
Walk softly, strike quickly.
I don't think we need to protect him at this point, right? Like, it's pretty tough for opponent to both have a unit and a combat trick capable of taking down Zed. Right? If he wants to play the... We aren't playing the 5-cost dude, the 4/4 that boosts the unit in your hand real big, but that would be the only unit in his deck that could probably take down Zed. Fuck. I guess a double Obenhawked Brigand will do it. But we're probably beyond the stage of the game where Zed's ever scary, I think. I mean, what do we... We do have some options, right? I mean, what if we say Conspirator backs Zed and then boost him with the Inspired Mentor? Maybe that's the way to go. Then we just take the 6 damage off the Highwayman and we have good blocks otherwise. I think I'm okay with that. Ew. Well, that got nasty fast.
Don't want any trouble.
Can we give up on the Shadow Assassin? Probably have to.
It's too late for you.
I mean, we can twin disciplines, but maybe that's okay. Taking that little 10-piece nugget. We still got Zed, but again, the downside was Zed is opponent's at 17, so he can pretty much ignore him. I suspect he probably wouldn't just let Zed flip here. He'd probably block half of him. But, oh, that was That was a shitty draw.
Without a sound,
The Yordle here is with me.
only the worthy survive.
I will play my part.
How bad could it be, right? He's got one card left. Let's see if it's a combat trick or not.
Out for the public.
Alright, I don't think this is too greedy, right? If we get to protect our Shadow Assassin, kill his thing, right? When we're at this stage of the game, the Shadow Assassin is pretty huge, right? And then and the ability to come in and draw a card.
Everything's better with company.
Says you.
To deny.
Silence
Oh boy.
is death.
That's a lot of Shadow Assassins from opponent.
With me.
Hurry up.
You cannot escape.
Hold up.
Alright, I'll accept that we just died to Twin Disciplines. We gotta have something happen positively here. It's going to involve Zed, right? Trading Zed for the Highwayman. It feels like we just never win the game at that stage.
Do not deny me.
And I don't think we're going to get a positive attack with the Life Blade here. If he was still a 2-3, that would be pretty fantastic. But I don't think he's going to get 2 combats in. And so at least this way, saving him for now, we could potentially, if we just need to block next turn to prevent damage. Oh, Jesus, he had the unit in hand as well. If we just need to prevent damage next turn, we can, say, like, block the Highwayman.
Everyone here? Let's go.
Brings in a Wayfinder. Well, we can't drop our monk. Are we dead here? I don't think we're dead. See if he makes that proper little to big attack. I mean, we still have the Will of Ionia in hand. We can recall something out.
Rod's got a toll, and you're paying. I sense fear.
Do not disappoint me.
Eyes open.
Punish restraint.
It's to be like this. That was pretty painful, but I think the big actual problem here. Wow, he's even got the. I was gonna say he's even got the deny here at the end. Similar, but like I don't think we can get out of this since we can't kill the Shadow Assassin in this combat. Right, we can add the Solitary Monk, but we're not going to have 5 damage and a way to get rid of this elusive. Guess we could draw another Shadow Assassin. Opponent drew like 1 million, and so that was pretty big for him. Oh, are you short? Oh, he gives other allies the bonus. Come on, Windfarer Hatchling, you were so close. You're so close. Of course, he just draws more Shadow Assassins. Okay. But I think that turned out fine. Like, our deck, I think, was on the more aggressive end of the spectrum, right? We weren't playing the Brigands, and we weren't playing the unit boost to the hand thing. But I think that game ultimately came down to hitting the double Omen Hawk on the unit capable of blocking Zed. And there's just, like, so many smaller units in their deck. But I think that's where the problem came about. Painful. All right, so what do we got coming in with these? Garen with Shadow Isles, sure. Not sure what the Shadow Isles is in this. I guess everybody today just wants to play the Ruination, and so maybe that's just what's coming at us. Garen with the Ruination. But looking at these, I think this is probably the more aggressive end of the deck. The Noxus version, I'm just going to ban out the Freylord one. See what we're left with. Again, I'm curious what all that Shadow Isles is. Oh, I think we could probably safely bring the Elusives. Draven, Thresh, Darius. It's just so weird to me seeing the sets like this to where like you have the aggressive dudes in Draven Darius, but then Thresh is here. It's like, are you playing some kind of like atrocity deck? I don't get why the Thresh shows up in these things. Right? If you're playing the aggressive deck here, you're playing some kind of aggressive number with Precious Pet. Why are you playing Thresh? This doesn't make sense. Are we okay to trade our duo for Zed or for this thing? I don't think so. I think I want to add the Omen Hawk. I'm just gonna block the 5/2. Don't want to take that damage against the Darius deck, but I want to keep the Brittle Steel for our Zed next turn. I don't suspect he's gonna have tons of ways to stop the Zed, but if we play Zed and he just passes and has a Whirling Death, I want to be able to Brittle Steel that Whirling Death down and make sure our Zed is happening.
Does he do this?
Okay. Seems alright.
It's Draven time. Stay safe. I'll take it from here.
Are you gonna try and Whirling Death us, bro? That's what it looks like. I'll be real with you. That's what it looks like.
Don't want any trouble.
I got the Brittle Steel, bro.
Now we're cooking.
Let's see, I guess at this rate he could still have a Whirling Death, but I think that's okay. Ooh. It's not okay for you though. if you don't have the cards here, that's not gonna be good for you.
The Yordle here's with me.
Aye, here comes an open.
Let's move.
Okay, I think we should be in decent space now. Like, the big tempo that we'll get out of Will of Ionia, I think should be enough to carry us through.
Nothing but Noxian might.
Silent as death.
There's the Darius.
Noxian dog.
You're the one hiding behind the mask.
Do we ever just need to get this thing off the board? It's like, if we get this guy off the board, then it opens up all of the Zed cards to be striking. Cupcake it. GG. So weird. I did not expect the big overwhelm stuff to be coming out of the Thresh deck, but I don't know, man. We didn't play back then. I don't know, bro. All right, who do we got coming in now? A little bit of spell-based Ezreal Lux. I think I'm okay with leaving that up. The Shadow Isles here, though, with Hecarim, probably some kind of Ephemerals deck. I think that's okay. Probably just leaning towards banning out this Garen. It's just like, I see the cost of these champions, and they're all so expensive. I'm just going to ban out Shadow Isles. We'll stick to that. If we ban the Shadow Isles, then we can play our Spiderlings, right? That's what it's all about. All right, Kyle, here they come. Get ready for it. I hope you're ready, bro. Bringing in Lux Ezreal. Got it. All right, I'll take the Elise start. There's a bit of a curve. Feels like we're playing Expedition. What it was like to be able to draft. I miss those days, man. Counterfeit copies. Alright.
Where are you?
What are we in for?
Come close.
Well, there's not a lot that interacts with the Elise well here, right? You can't hit her with Get Excited. There's not a lot of units that have 3 power anymore in this space, and so like I think she gets out of here most of the time.
The world's a big place. Let's see all of it. That egg, did it move?
Alright, I'm going to play my Sharp Sight. It's not a thing? We can't play Sharp Sights anymore? Alright, fine. On to Elise.
Sure.
Seems like you're not long for the world, my spider friend.
You won't suffer long.
I mean, Static Shock's not that scary. Takes down 2 units. Takes like 6 damage. Seems okay. Just get built up to our pack mentality. Yep.
Firing.
There he is, Christmas time. Hope you all had a good Thanksgiving season. As the things I must say, I always hype up the deviled eggs for everybody to go and do and get to be a part of your life. The thing I don't tell you, the thing that I leave for discovery, is how rancid your farts are going to be the next day. And you know, you're welcome. You're welcome. Nobody told you that they were going to smell fucking awful. That's what happens when you snack on a bunch of deviled eggs. And I think yesterday would have been Thanksgiving for me. I probably had in total like 5 whole eggs, and that doesn't count the ones I had during the preparation process, because you always get a little bit extra then as well. And my toots were rancid, bro. That shit was foul. But it's all right, you know. I hope you all had a moment of discovery, and you got to just be like, oh man, it smells like rotten eggs in here. I'm not listening to that dumb shit playing video games ever again. You're welcome. All right, let's see how opponent reacts here. He says, oh fuck. Getting hit with that pack mentality. I didn't expect that one to come down. It is odd that our spiderlings are not big enough to kill off his they're not big enough to kill off his things, but it is what it is. So do we go after Ezreal or do we hook for the divers? And so let's say we hook a diver with Braum. This horror gets blocked with the daring. A 3 gets canceled by another diver. And then we don't have the lethal. So we should probably come in and just kill the Ezreal, right? Right. You're definitely right, Bust. You should come in, kill the Ezreal. Did we math that wrong? Feels like, well, he has his blocks lined up kind of weird. That's not how I was expecting the blocks to go. But, right, if the Silverwing Diver canceled the Aristocrat, the Daring Poro blocked the Horror, and then Ezreal blocked the Spiderling over here, we'd only be looking at 8 damage. I guess I missed one. No, we didn't miss any damage from Braum. Okay. Now we get our mighty friend as well. Check out that Christmas time Poro. Says, Bust, I know all about your toots, bro. Not not dealing with that. Like, do we ever get out of this turn with a dead? I don't think we do. Let's just Brood Awakening now. Like, he might kill something else, but I think it's kind of suspect. All right. The Broodlings did it. Best deck 2020. That's when Foundations was released, you know? All right, next one. All right, so oh man, do we have the potential for the mirror match? The Elise on Elise deck? Ooh, that's tempting. That's tempting. All right, let's see what happens. I'm gonna ban out. Oh, what a fucking lame-o, dude. What a lame-o. Jack Mercer R? Dude, lame. Oh my gosh, we were ready for that hot mirror match action, and you said no. I don't want to. I don't want to have fun busts. I don't want the Spiderlings battling each other. I'm surprised this guy's not playing like Triple Shadow Isles. Well, let's bring out the Elusives then. This dude's just not going to be fun. Lamest shit I've ever seen in my life. He's not just denying me, he's denying my dozens and dozens of followers from being able to watch his games as well. It's upset. I hope Riot bans this dude's account or something. As someone that was recently banned from Marvel Snap, I can tell you it hurts, you know? It hurts a little bit when you get banned. Makes it feel like that they don't want you. And so, hurt. Alright, I'll go ahead and offer up this trade. We're not going to get much better out of the Omen Hawk, and if he's got the Iceborn Legacies around, then we should at least make sure that he doesn't have the opportunity to just have a Spiderling sit, right? We don't have any way to directly come in and kill a Spiderling, and so it'd be nice to remove it if we can. Mist Wraiths. Okay. Not what I was expecting, but we can deal. And this should be a fairly safe turn. We don't have to worry about things like Mist's Call bringing these things back. There's no dead allies cards that matter at this point. I'm curious why he paused, but I think we're safe for the most part there. Then we'll see what he plays. If he plays like another Mist Wraith, then we'll definitely attack with the Blade Scout, but I'm suspecting the Blade Scout's going to just be kind of like hanging out on blocker duty. If he gets to take down a Mist Wraith, then he'll be doing pretty well for himself. There it is. I knew this guy was lame. Alright, well this is a must-open attack, right? If he's gonna have a Brood Awakening after this just to block all of our stuff, that's gonna be a problem. And so we need to chunk in this damage now, and then on our next attack, we need to finish with the Windfarer Hatchling. And so whatever we can find in terms of... ooh, wow. Do we ever just actually let this happen? Because we can deny Brood Awakenings, right? Hang on. Hang on. That's the way to do it. So I guess he's aware that we have a deny now, but you can't let that happen. Can't let the Brood Awakening happen.
For each crab I saw today.
Do not fear the shrouded path.
Solitary Monk. You may fit in this turn. Like, what if we look to just take all of this damage? And then we can replay Mentor and Zed. 3, 6, 7. This turn I was really hoping to get in a 3-bank, though, so that we could go into next turn and Hatchling plus Deny. I think we just got to pass on it.
I pull
All right. This is not going how I expected or intended. Do we ever just give up on Zed at this point? I mean, we can't play the... Well, if we play the Monk and the Lifeblade, then we lose out on our deniability. But we're short of lethal now, though. This is all booty. It's booty, I tell you. No. The Ruination. Such a dumb card. Get that shit out of here. Alright, so he does have to block both Zed and the Shadow this turn. It's a bit of a perk. I'm not surprised. Excuse me, the guy that denied us the Iceborn Legacy mirror match also playing the Ruination. Not surprised whatsoever.
Dr. Egg, did it move?
Quite the dish, aren't you?
The order rewards its faithful.
So many solitary monks. I'm not too excited about the monks in the way that these games have been turning out. It's good, like, early-ish, right? If you have like an Omen Hawk start, you can drop the monks and still have a chance to play them, but they're pretty awkward here in the later game.
Struggle. Now enjoy it.
What's that noise?
Weak will.
But feels like a spot. As long as we don't die here, I think we're okay. What is this, like 15 or so? 17?
Slither out from the darkness.
It's too late for you.
I mean, I guess realistically, we can just block with Zed at this point.
Punish restraint.
He can't also be playing Atrocity, right? I think this is good. I think this will end it. We'll just go ahead and protect here. Like, we could potentially look to Twin Disciplines next turn, but he can't play a lot of his removal spells here. So, like,
Something more.
if he wants to play something like a Black Spear on this turn, he can't do it anymore. He's got to come in, right? He's got to have 2 removals at this point. It's easy to have 1 removal for Shadow Assassin, but it's kind of hard to have 2. Just a Vengeance. All right. GG. Oof. Ooh, boy. Oh, I hope you learned your lesson, dude. Hope you learned it. Coming at us. What is that bullshit? Banning out the spiderlings. Ugh. Well, here, I'm happy to ban out this Anivia deck. I don't want anything to do with this. The harrowing Anivia deck's going to be a bit of a problem. So it's good against both our Elusives and our Brood Awakening deck. All right. So do we want to move into elites now just to give us another shot to play them? I think it's okay. I didn't see which deck he was bringing here, but gotta get in a couple games with it and stuff. All right, so let's hang on to Senna. Pretty good looking curve now. It's hoping to go for our big Laurent Duelist opening, but no, can't complain about it.
These old eyes still see far and clear. Safeguard our homes.
Now we actually have an interesting turn, right? We don't have to just throw down Senna. I think we want a Bright Steel. Right, if we Bright Steal the bird, we might have something positive happen out of this Radiant Strike. Right, we have this attack just naturally, just to where the Omen Hawk doesn't get any good blocks. We get a good thing happening here. And then if he does have a combat trick or something weird, we have the Radiant Strike to protect with. I like it. Definitely want to be trying to build up our board when we already have the Bannerman in hand. As we always say when we play Poppy, it's much better to give 5 units of +1/+1 than it is to give 1 unit +1/+1. So remember that. Put that in your knowledge bank. Put that in your pipe and smoke it, if you will.
All the world on one arrow.
Yeah. So he's going to have the Ash Glory Seeker attack. I think we have to drop the Bannerman now, because then we can take down Ash, right? Right.
Show me a target. You're mine.
Now, the next thing... So, like, Brittle Steel is going to be the combat trick typically coming out of these decks, right? And if we Radiant one of our 2 health units, it becomes a 3 and it dies to Brittle Steel. Now, if he has an Elixir of Wrath or Elixir of Iron, whatever the +2 health one is, fine. But I think when you're playing Ash, you are just so much more likely to be playing Brittle Steel as your 1-mana combat trick that we should just go ahead and give up on the War Chefs. Pretty choice draw in Brightsteel Protector now. Let us get another big challenge in. Oof. Oof. You're going to be oofing on that one, dude. Gonna be oofing. Not oofing about that. His card advantages are pretty big. Alright. That Ash pretty much took down 3 cards on her own. Oh my god. We're probably out of this one at this point. The Blade's Edge option into sit through. Oh, okay. Okay. Yep. Yep. GG. I like that deck though, man. I miss out on the days to where we got to play Trifari and Glory Seekers. Such a good card in Expedition. I miss it. We don't get to play fun cards like that anymore. I love seeing it as well when people just say stop printing bad cards, right? like that's a possibility. That's a thing that Riot could do, is just stop printing bad cards, right? So, ooh, it's a card just for draft. No, you can't just not print the bad ones. Anyways, in terms of these decks, I'm going to go for it again. I'm going to, let's do this. Let's ban out the Darius. I think this is probably like an aggro Darius, but I'm going to ban out the Shadow Isles there. I'm going to leave up the Elise, and then I'm going to give him the option. Give him the option. The mirror match coming in. Come on, dude. Come on, STK T2 Fapper. This Faker and Fapper hanging out, playing games together. Seems like a guy ready for a mirror match. God damn it. It's people. People. I thought you were going to be cool, Fapper. And then you went and did stuff like this. All right. Hopefully reasonable enough start, though. The Elise, you know, if she trades and gets us a Spiderling, great. If she gets to attack and survive and give us a Spiderling, even better, right? She does have the option to come down and do quite a bit here in the early game. Man, I want to hate you so much, Fapper. I want to hate you so much, but you're bringing Legion Rearguards as well. It's tough. It's tough, dude.
I pull the strings.
Boy, do I hate you, Ron Burgundy. But I do respect you. It's tough.
Skitter out from the darkness.
All right. So it should be good, right? If he blocks the little spider with the house spider, we still have the opportunity to Vile Feast the big one away. If he open attacks next turn, it feels like that's probably good for us as well. And so, ooh, double Vile Feast? Do we really want to go for both, though? Because we got the Iceborn Legacy in hand. If we 2-bank and go into next turn, we can Iceborn Legacy and just have big spiders the rest of the game. That seems pretty good. Not gonna lie, it sounds pretty good. Even if we lose the Elise, does it still sound good? I think so. Like, realistically, on this turn, he's gonna take our Spiderling and then hook it out of combat with the Flame Chompers. So, I think that's okay. If we're gonna be real, that's just too slow. Fine, dude. You've taken all my will away. We'll just have to get Braum down next turn. Well, still got the Spiderling though, right? We still got the tools to get the big units.
This is fun, yes? We should be friends.
All right, I think we can hook the big boy, right? Now that he's down to 2 mana, the best he could do is a Brother's Bond. I guess Elixir of Wrath should have been a card we were scared of. Maybe we should have just hooked a 2-power unit. Like, flipping Braum, not super relevant.
The people are my strength. Our strength is yours.
He's a big boy, though. Crowd favorites out here doing it. Interesting. I want to put the Hearthguard in front of the crowd favorites. I'm surprised he's hooking Braum in with the Flame Chompers. Right? We just need to prevent damage. We have the Hearthguard. We have a second Hearthguard. We have all kinds of ways to grow and be strong. As long as we're just not dying, we're going to outdo this deck. Now, Jinx does make that a little bit scary, I guess. The Death Rocket angle can be pretty intimidating, but I think we're still okay there.
Let's show our friends the door. This is fun, yes?
Just a little one. We're not going to win the game on this turn. I don't want to be making trades here, right? Because his board's already full. And so, like with this, if he wants to take a block and prevent a point of damage and then replace a Scrap Scuttler or something, that's fine. I don't want to be like trading Spiderling for any of this stuff. We want him out here just overriding his own units. Okay.
Rules are made to be
There's the Jinx.
her people.
See if he can empty out that hand. I mean, the Iceborn Legacies do let us protect these 1-health units from Death Rockets, so might be something we see happen next turn. But Vision. Okay. So he gets the rocket, but he can't cast it. Fairly scary turn. Like, we really need to be playing an Iceborn Legacy here. Like, I don't think we're gonna have the time to do it.
Stand behind Braum.
That's savage. All right, so we're at 5. What are the chances? Right, we have to pack mentality next turn. That's the way we have to go about this. The downside is, like, if we play Brood Awakening and then he Death Rockets away all of our little dudes and we're just going to be dead. But, like, if we pass, do we ever get out of it any better? Like, the thing is, we can play Kindly Tavern Keeper and then potentially draw a unit next turn. All right, let's just pass, see what he does.
What's the worst that could happen?
That's the worst that could happen right there. Jesus. Okay.
Immerse yourself in the unknown.
The other thing we're kind of seeing here is we could have flipped this Braum, right? A couple of turns ago, we hooked in his Flame Chompers and not... we hooked in the Flame Chompers and didn't hook in, say, like the Legion Rearguard. So if Braum had been flipped there, might have been an angle for victory. All right, though, we fall to 1. We've technically got heal in hand, but I don't think we ever win the game with that. Does the pack mentality actually get a kill, though? What is this, like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 19? No. All right. Ugh. Painful. So weird. Like, it felt like we were so far ahead in that game, and then it just got completely flipped on its head. It's so wild how crazy that change went. Like, it feels like we were just like, we had the better board and we were really growing, and then that shit just got annihilated so fast. I guess, like, that's probably the issue with the ogre thing, right? Like, everything was fine until it came down. We had to throw away our gigantic units into the ogre just to prevent damage. I don't know. That was tough. That seems like we were so close and it just shot away so fast. Oh, shit. I didn't realize our gauntlet was complete. That was it. That was our second loss. And so, yeah, it was an interesting set, an interesting format. We're definitely going to be doing some more videos on this. It's interesting to just go back to the older format now that the cards are all changed and different and give them a bit of the light of the day. Like, I think this is like a great thing to add in. Because it's not something you'd want to play forever, right? Having this around for a week on occasion is pretty cool. Like, I kind of equate it to, say, like cube drafts in Magic. Like, there's a niceness to it when, like, a really cool cube draft comes around. If you get to play the Legacy Cube or the Vintage Cube or whatever, like, you know, kind of off the moment thing that they bring. But it loses a bit of that allure. It loses a bit of that specialness if it's just around the entirety of the year. And so I think these kind of one-shot formats every so often are kind of neat, especially as we get into these kind of like downtime periods to where there's not a lot of excitement going on, right? Typically, the excitement, at least in my opinion, is tied to the set releases, which you get 6 a year, and then the big patches, which you get another 6 a year. And so, like, I don't know like the kind of sequencing and cadence you would need to have like something big and exciting happen every patch. Like, that's probably too big of an ask onto Riot to say, hey, you know, make something exciting happen literally every 2 weeks. But if they're in kind of the space to where, you know, a big set comes out and then a month later is the balance patch, and then 2 weeks after the balance patch there's a fun week or whatever, and then that fun week is one of these things, or maybe that's when seasonals is, and so maybe I don't know. You know, I think it's neat that this is here until the end of the year, but it's not something that's around all the time. And so I don't know the spacing and the timing and the perfect thing. I just know that it's cool that this turns up. It's not something I think that should be here every week, but should show up on occasion as a little fun thing to do. But nonetheless, with that out of the way, in terms of the decks themselves, the Garen Lucian deck I have not been super impressed with. It does not feel like this is a particularly strong format for it. It's, to me, missing Petricite Broadwing. It's really tough to state how strong Petricite Broadwing is, but it does everything. It gives you that early board control, gives you the interactivity you need. It's a unit that's just stronger than everything. It gets like double power on the combat tricks. It's just what these Demacia decks need to be strong. And going back to a time like this is kind of odd and interesting in that you can see how much the early game really just falls apart when you don't have units like the Broadwing around. And that especially kind of compounds with all the value cards that were generated later in the game's life. And so the Conchologists and the Reggies and everything all having 2 power, and then having that challenger that can survive it and then still do something later, it just gives Demacia so much that they just don't have in these kind of decks and in this kind of format. And so I was ultimately not particularly impressed with this deck. You can put like a more Elites spin on it if you want to come out and say play like Battlesmiths and not play Lucians and Sennas and Larnt Duelists and just be a big stat heavy deck, and you count really on single combats at that point. But I was really kind of interested in the high-powered strength you would get out of the Lucian and the Senna combined with the Laurent Duelist, because the Fleet Feather Tracker is just not enough on its own. And then the next challenger you get access to is Laurent Protege at the 3-mana space, which is just like way off curve. The thing that Demacia runs into problems with in the olden days is that the early game cards tend to be all shit, and all the good cards are expensive, and so you have to really do a lot of curve management, and then things like Laurent Protege just kind of fall by the wayside. And so just not the strongest thing you could be doing for 3 mana. You can't play 12 3-drops in your deck, and so it just doesn't make the cut. And so that's a lot of the big power that you get out of the Petricite Broadwing that you just don't get here. In terms of the Zed Elusives deck, I feel like this was pretty strong. Solitary Monk's got to go. Maybe you play one copy of Solitary Monk, but it certainly needs to be out of here. It was just problematic all the time. Otherwise, this was fine. Strong deck. I have no complaints about it. Just the Monk. You could probably easily fit in another Brittle Steel. Depending on how much Shadow Isles garbage is running around, you could play the third copy of Deny. If you get to deny a Ruination, it should just end the game. Yeah, these kind of like plays as to where you're going to play an Omen Hawk on turn 1 and then an Inspired Mentor on turn 2 and then Solitary Monk them back to your hand. It just never really came together in any kind of meaningful way. And the games don't feel like they go on long enough to where you're going to want to say like Solitary Monk Shadow Assassins, right? If you're going to be going that deep into value land, you would be better off just playing some other kind of control deck. It doesn't really fit here. And so that's my thoughts on the Zed deck. And then the Braum Elise, I thought this was nice. It seems like most of the other Braum Elise, or most of the other Iceborn Legacy players weren't playing Braum, which I get. I could definitely see cutting him. And then I could definitely see an argument to add in Crawling Sensation if you plan on leaving the opposing Jinx Draven deck up, right? If you have the Crawling Sensations to trade off in a lot of their early game, it could be quite good. It's just that Crawling Sensations is quite terrible against any kind of mid-rangey or any kind of control deck. Just 2/1/1s for 1 mana isn't worth a card. And so if you're playing that as your strategy, I could see it. I could also see an angle as to where you probably just want like a little bit more heal in here. But outside of that, I was pretty happy with everything happening here. Again, maybe Braum can go. But I think the pack mentalities were a necessity. I think the Brood Awakenings are still quite good in this format. And it's just kind of maybe even the Frenzied Skitterers could go out of this. That's kind of a tougher call. But it plays so nicely with the Arachnoid Horrors and the other unit boosting cards, but I could definitely see that as well. But the Braum, not a necessity. I mean, maybe you want to just play Callista since she has really good stats, but a strong deck, a little bit better than just a meme, I think. And so fun with this, good stuff. So nonetheless, that is going to do it for us today. Hope everyone enjoyed the video. I hope you wind your times to the max. Hope you maybe learned a thing or two along the way and had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.